type of thing,
No,
or?
I think we have to do it individually, but just say the first standard pollution, the second standard. Yeah.
But we do have to do it individually.
Yeah, it can't be a slate vote,
Well, I think you could get away with it,
since we've already gone through them.
but that's fine. Janice, are we live
You are.
on YouTube too? Okay.
Starting early, yeah.
And I know, looking for Mark, I think he was going to try to attend, but I don't see him joining yet. So.
I don't think he is.
Didn't he say that his time
Yeah.
difference was such that it's
Unlikely.
3 a.m. and if it was needed,
Mike or something already?
if it was needed, he would try, but.
And Ethan, I can put the, everything up on the screen if you'd like, the agenda packet. Does that sound good?
Sure.
We are doing the minutes too. I thought today's probably the appropriate time to do those minutes from the.
Yeah, I
prior
looked
meeting.
those over, yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to do them while the applicant was here, rather than do them like the last meeting we had.
Um, Is there like just a basic agenda, or is it all just this one here?
That's it.
That's it. So nothing on the minutes either then on here?
Minutes are number 2 on the agenda. You see it?
Must have
We're
a,
looking at the process agenda.
yeah, I don't have the standard agenda, is it?
Would, didn't you pick, it's up in front of you or on the screen, Ethan?
Can't read that. It wasn't on the,
There you go.
I could use that, yeah. It's all right, I got one here.
Cheers.
Okay, that's what I was looking for, yeah. I was wondering why I didn't have it. Okay. We ready to begin?
We're ready.
Okay. Welcome, this is the Town of Camden Planning Board meeting for Thursday, June 1st, 2023. We are streaming on YouTube, and there is a Zoom link for access. First item on the agenda today is public comment on any non-agenda items. And seeing none,
None.
assuming you have none.
Nope.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of March 29 and April 5. Did the board have an opportunity to review those minutes for accuracy? Does anybody have any corrections or suggestions? No?
Motion and.
Motion to approve minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Minutes for March 29 and April 5 are approved. The next item up and the main item on the agenda is the subdivision application under Chapter 235. The applicant is Nordhaven Camden LLC. We have Gartley and Dorsky here, Will Gartley from Gartley and Dorsky here to act as the agent. The property address is 440 Belfast Road, map 134, lot 1. It's in the coastal residential district. The applicants are asking for permission to develop a 10-unit open space subdivision, including 1 existing residence and 9 new single-family homes on 43 acres off Route 1 North. The first thing we're going to do here is Pat Chen was not at the board meeting and some public hearings that we had on March 29 and April 5. But she has watched those proceedings, and she has filed an affidavit to that effect. So our hope is that we can vote her in as a voting member of the board for the proceedings. I wondered if you had any objections to that. Nope, okay. Motion,
I move to vote Pat in.
second?
I'll second.
All in favor? You don't get to vote.
Aye.
So carried.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, Pat, you can have that for your records.
They approved them already, the minutes. All approved.
All right, that takes us to the final review. First thing on the agenda here will be the review for completeness. You have Appendix D, which has the submission requirements and the decision letters of 4/12/23 and the response memorandum of 5/2/23 to ensure that conditions of approval have been met.
I'll make a motion that the application is complete and complies with the conditions of approval.
I have a question or a comment maybe before,
Sure.
maybe we should get a second or,
I had a question too on the final plans versus the preliminary plan. Is now the time to ask that?
Well, I think we got a motion on the table right now and we had a second. So before we get in discussion, maybe.
We can have discussion on that motion, right? Yep. So what is the question? I mean, is this like a technical question or is it about the completeness of the application?
It's not, I don't think it's about the completeness. It was a question on the acreage they list on the proposed lot 1, which seems to be the same area as the gray area on the
Yeah,
final
that doesn't sound like a
plans.
completeness issue, so we'll wait on that.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
yeah. John, do you had something?
mine might be a completeness
Right.
issue. And in their application materials, there was some discussion over letters of credit and financial guarantees. And it applied to the stormwater and the roads. And it did not apply to, this would be a question perhaps for you, Jeremy. It did not seem to apply to sanitary sewer or the provision of potable water. And is there a Maine law, a Camden law that suggests that those, I'm going to call them private utilities, not be included in the financial guarantees?
I'm not certain on a main law on it. I guess I'm going to ask Will for a question on that. I thought you included that as part of the cost estimates.
The construction estimate that we put together, John is correct.
Okay.
They didn't include those.
Okay.
So we're now asking for conditional agreement,
Right.
which would kind of negate the overall cost of construction of the project anyway.
Right. That is a good point. That's something that's changed a little bit. And if you look at the performance guarantee section, there's a couple of options that are available, and one is a conditional agreement. And I had met with Will, Shenley and I met with Will, and we reviewed what they're proposing with the town attorney. There's a letter that was addressed to me in the packet on what they were proposing is really a conditional agreement as opposed to performance guarantees. And the town attorney and myself are fine with that. The way we would look at it, it was a condition that the town attorney and we work out the agreement ourselves, between us and them for that conditional agreement. Does that make sense or clarify?
I think it may, and I think the pause I have is that there's a $500,000 amount listed in that letter, and that seems to be based off of a cost estimate
Yeah.
that does not include the sanitary sewer or the potable water. And again, I don't presume to know the full Camden code and approach to this, but I'd be uncomfortable ignoring those costs in the review. So I take comfort if I understood that those would be included in those infrastructure guarantees.
Will, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I think the struggle here with the guarantees is a lot of times those guarantees are for public improvements, which makes a lot of sense. I think the question here is there's a lot of improvements on this property that we didn't feel necessarily required a guarantee. We focused on the ones that were clearly important to the board, which had to do with erosion and sedimentation and that road construction. And so that's why we focused on those. There's other costs with the buildings and that type of thing. And if a developer's required to give 125% guarantee of the entire project, that means they have to come up with the entire cost twice, which almost makes development unreasonable completely. So that's why we asked for the conditional guarantee, with the idea that that amount that would be set aside would cover the cost of the road construction, the erosion control, and all the stormwater management, which are the areas of concern. And those funds would only be released back as they were completed to the satisfactory of the town.
Sure.
And then we can't get occupancy or building permits
Till they've got water or septic.
unless there's water and sewer and other items are done. So the town has a method to make sure they're completed prior to anybody occupying the buildings. So it seemed like that was enough of a guarantee.
I mean, we can't even issue a building permit until we've issued a septic permit,
Right.
you know, those design permits. So they've got to get that done.
But once we've approved the subdivision, you'd be able to sell home sites, the building pads, if you will. That's a question, but
Right.
an assertion.
But they're not selling
We're not
lots.
selling home sites or building pads.
Got it.
We're selling completed condominium units.
Okay.
And it's not.
I think your guys' mics aren't on.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We're not subdividing the property in that sense.
Not in the traditional sense that
Creating lots.
you're creating lots and selling home sites.
Right.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with it as it is regarding the not including water and the septic.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question that I don't think we've looked at before.
Well, I think it's also that in a traditional subdivision where the developer is selling lots, it's then on the purchaser to put in their septic and sewer. So we haven't had this kind of thing where
Right.
they're building all of the infrastructure and it's a communal septic that for one house, the first unit is going to need that single septic. So it has to kind of be there.
Does that ease any of your concerns, John, or is it sort of a
Enough.
whistle past the graveyard type of?
Enough. I rely on Jeremy to,
Yeah, we do tend to
Make sure
rely
that
on Jeremy for a lot of these things, and that, I mean, if he's comfortable, I'm comfortable. That's sort of how I look at it. And I think with the sequence of the issuance of the permits and everything, they're going to be having to do it. Okay? Yeah. All right. So we have a motion and a second on the table for finding the application complete. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right. We kind of did just have a little bit of a discussion on this, but we have on the agenda here just for replenishment of the escrow account. It says discussion only. Jeremy, is that?
Yeah, that's discussion only, and that doesn't apply in this case. So I think it was just a discussion. That escrow, if you look in the standard, it is, or in the section of the ordinance that governs it, that's for us to hire that third party stormwater, someone to review is what we did before, and that allows you to replenish it. We've used that amount. There was no further review
overage.
needed. No
Yep.
overage. It was the right amount. And there's no further review of that needed. So that's why it's there. Just the ordinance requires you to look at it. And
Yep.
from my perspective, it's not applicable at this point.
Okay. Sounds good. And then the third item there under that is the performance guarantees. I feel like we kind of did just cover that. Any further discussion only on the performance guarantees? You all read the letter?
And I think this is one of those ones where you have to, this approval is contingent upon them and the town working out an agreement, a conditional agreement that's acceptable to the town attorney.
So it's not discussion only then?
No.
You're looking for a motion on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to make this conditional.
Yeah.
Again, it's the section talks about the final plan shall be accompanied by a performance guarantee or at the sole discretion of the planning board, a conditional agreement. And there is no, outside of that mention, there is nothing in the ordinance to, lay out or specify what's required in that conditional agreement. What's here in this section is what's required of a performance guarantee. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a conditional agreement. So,
Okay.
we're comfortable, the town attorney and I, Shenley, we reviewed it, met with Will, and we're comfortable that we can work within that.
But we don't have it yet.
Correct.
Got it.
And I would say just approval subject to the approval of the town attorney on that. Is that fair, Will?
Yeah.
And that's what we discussed.
Yep.
And we're
Any discussion from the board on that item?
You want that motion now?
Yeah, I guess I do.
So I'll make a motion that the final approval is conditional on the agreement for performance guarantees.
conditional agreement.
Additional agreement.
Yep.
At the planning board's discretion, subject to approval by the town attorney. Can I-
Isn't that what I
Friendly
said?
amendment.
Isn't that what I said?
You accept the friendly
No, I
amendment? Do we have a
I
second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay, so I guess we've now got this final determination on, or fourth determination on the Camden's open space subdivision. That's the Article 8 summary.
If you want me to approve, go through pull up the approval standards so they're up on the screen, I can do that.
Where we're at now, we're on the,
You need to do this.
So we have to do these first three.
These three.
so-
All right, sorry. I'm looking at the agenda, not the process agenda. We'll leave that to Chris O.
right,
It's these.
these three, but so we're gonna skip this for now. Okay. So we do have some housekeeping findings and motions that are needed before the determination can begin. First, I guess you're all set on these, Chris, so you can just roll them off. I don't need to read through them.
Uh,
I don't know if you want to do this as one. It's all about pretty much on accuracy.
Yeah, I was debating how you, I make a motion that we find a finding that the board is relying on the accuracy and completeness of the information provided on boundary and topographic survey dated October 2022 to provide details on the proposed North Haven Camden subdivision.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
So moved.
Make a motion that finds that the board, finding that the board is relying on the accuracy of the information provided on the plans sub and C1 through C9, all dated May 9th, 2023.
May 2nd.
May 2nd, 2023, as described in the final plan submission list dated May 3rd, 2023, including other information provided by the applicant in support of this application.
I have another question
Sure.
for the applicant. And this is just a grading question, because the grading plans, the previous grading plans show not the final tie-ins to the existing contours. And this is just adjacent to the neighboring road. And it's where there's it looks like the detention basin, I think is what that is. And the contours tie in. I just want to make sure that I'm reading that correctly and there's no water that flows onto the neighbor's road right there. You see where that?
We're talking right down near the entrance. Yeah, so there's all the contours tie in, the water above that underdrain soil filter is directed to it. And then the outlet to it is below. So we're not grading anything towards that road at all. There is a slight little ditch line.
Yeah.
Well, it's an old gravel.
Okay.
Driveway.
So they don't use that road, right? They don't, the neighbor doesn't.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Nolan uses it to get to the property.
Right. Yeah. But either way, we've definitely graded it so that
Okay.
we're not pushing water towards that gravel.
I figured it's just that it showed a little bit differently in the, it wasn't completed in the last one.
I think you did mention that there would be some minor grading changes, like from the preliminary plan to the final, as you guys were making the final plans together. I do recall you mentioning it
Yeah,
that last time.
that was one of the minor things that we had tweaked from preliminary approval to now was there were just a final few things that we needed to add for the stormwater review.
Thank you.
Would this be a time to ask my question now?
No, I think right now we're just trying to, we're just putting in the record that we're relying on the accuracy of the information provided. If we have questions about the actual plans, that will come up later and under the certain determinations that we need to make,
Oh, okay.
if I have that correct.
I think that's right. And I think Lucia's question was pertinent to this because the plans were a little varied.
The accuracy.
And unless that's what your question really
Well,
is,
it is in the sense that,
I'm willing to allow the question and certainly know
okay,
if you want to get it out.
this gray area in the final plan is the common open space, and it says it's 14.4 acres plus or minus. The same area in the preliminary plan, it says the area is 25.63 acres. And so I was a little confused because the gray fill area is the same size as the preliminary plan area.
Well, this looks a little different here. That wouldn't do it, but,
If
oh no,
anything,
it just
it's
ends up
bigger.
right here. Yeah, okay, yep.
And also, in the original talks we had, they were talking about not developing at all down in this area by the road because they thought it was too steep. But in the preliminary plan, proposed lot number 1, which includes the open space, they're now saying that they're thinking of developing in this area. So I guess you're finding an area that's not too steep down by the road here in the preliminary plan versus the gray that's here on the final plan.
Yeah, there's no road in this area. If you're talking Route 1 is over here on the right.
Yeah,
So where you're talking?
I'm looking at the preliminary subdivision plan, and that gray area is
The same.
exactly the same. And it's labeled,
I have, isn't it?
it's labeled the same.
This was from the preliminary plans that I had.
What's it dated?
Yeah, maybe we have different.
Because there were 2 preliminary plan meetings,
Yeah,
Okay.
if you-
and the final, and
If
the
you've got,
preliminary
like,
plan
if
where
you've
we
got
got
the map
preliminary
from-
plan approval was
You've got one of the
considerably
maps
different.
from the very first time that we talked about this quite a bit. It's different. Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's it. If you're saying your preliminary plans are showing the same gray area.
They're the same.
So there was a pretty significant difference between the first preliminary plan meeting and the preliminary plan meeting where we got preliminary plan approval.
Right. The
There was
pre-app map was quite a bit, had quite a few. things.
Right.
You've got
That's
that one.
probably what this one is. Okay.
Six? That's what I was wondering. I'm like,
All right.
oh, that's right.
So would you consider doing development in the common open space area still, the gray part?
We don't.
No.
plan on it.
No,
The
that's
gray part
not
is,
the tail
it's
house.
being written into the plan that it will
Okay,
be
great.
preserved as
Yeah, that was one of the,
wildlife habitat.
Okay, that's it, thanks.
We weren't
If
successful.
it changed the open space in the future, they got to come back to you.
Okay.
Interested here, you know.
All right, thank you.
All right. So we had a motion, but not a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. And
Make a motion that finding the board is relying on the applicant to ensure that the proposed condo documents, homeowners association agreement, and any agreements involving the town will comply with all applicable ordinances of the town of Camden.
I make a motion to find what he's just.
he just made the motion. You get to second
I'll
it if you
second
like. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Did you say aye, John?
I did.
So
You
moved.
just didn't hear it.
Yeah. Okay. That allows us now to go to the meat. Looking at Article 8 now for the findings.
Ethan, I got them up on the screen if you want them.
That's great. I'm just going to follow what we've talked about and do mostly the headings.
All right.
But first I have something I do have to read because it says in red letters. Jeannie, I don't mess with Jeannie's instructions. This is a summary statement of the standards. The full language can be found at section 235, Article 8. The board shall make findings of fact and conclusions relative to the criteria for approval contained in Title 30A MRSA, Section 4404, and the standards of these regulations. If the board finds that all the criteria of the statute and the standards of these regulations have been met, it shall approve the final plan. If the board finds that any of the criteria of the statute or the standards of these regulations have not been met, the board shall either deny the application or approve the application with conditions to ensure all the standards will be met by the subdivision. The reasons for any conditions shall be stated in the record. Okay, and so the first one is 8.1, pollution. As I said, we're not going to read everything. Some of the comments that we have, the applicants have agreed to use Curlex plastic-free erosion control products to prevent any seepage of plastics and plastic-related stuff. Supporting documentation includes the DEP stormwater permit by rule dated March 17, 23. Cumberland County Soil and Water Conservation District Technical Review Memo dated 3/31/23. The Stormwater Management and Erosion Control Plan, C4 dated 5/2/23, which was also reviewed by our expert person.
I'll make a motion that based on the information provided by the applicant and previous discussion, the standard has been met.
Second that?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. So moved. 8.2 is sufficient water. Got private wells. We have a letter from Haskell's Well Drilling dated 2/6/2023. And then the fire protection is making sure that there's water there. And we have the letter, sign-off letter from Fire Chief Farley dated 3/23/23, approving the cistern shown on the plan.
I will make a motion that based on information provided by the applicant and previous discussions, this standard has been met.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
I'll make a motion that 8.3 does not apply.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. 8.4 erosion. We have the DEP stormwater permit is basically approval of the erosion control plan. Cumberland County Soil and Water Conservation District was hired by the town to review the plan. All recommendations were incorporated into the final stormwater plan. Gartley and Dorsey will conduct inspections of erosion controls during construction, especially prior to and after storm events.
I'll make a motion based on information provided by the applicant and third-party experts. The standard has been met.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
I ask a question? I'm sorry.
You can.
There's a section on inspections that's further down in the ordinance that really isn't you guys. It's more code office
Yeah.
and planning office that deals with inspections. And I just wanted to touch base. I think Gartley and Dorsey's planning, if you look at that section, it requires the town to hire a third-party inspector. And I think that's where this is getting to. And I just wanted to clarify with Will, we had talked about Gartley and Dorsey, I know we talked about it during the plan reviews that they'll do it. I would just hope you can make maybe a friendly amendment that says Gartley and Dorsey or other qualified individuals or firm, because they may run into a scheduling issue. If you know what I mean.
It's on 815 stormwater.
Yeah, but we're in erosion. You mentioned it right now. So it might.
Oh, yeah,
be-
the inspection's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that.
I would
yeah.
just, if you can just add an amendment to that motion that says that
I will.
other qualified.
I move that we add a friendly amendment to Chriso's motion that says Gartley and Dorsey or other qualified.
Sure.
person.
Does that make sense, Will?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, we don't want to take Will away from his vacation.
So if you want to force people to hire us, that's fine.
I guess that would work too. All right, so we had that one already voted through, right? So, all right, traffic 8.5. We have the Maine Department of Transportation entrance permit. We have waiver from the road design standard approved by the board on 3/29 with sign off from the fire chief in support. If you recall, that was a discussion to change the grade and the width, I guess, was the two main things we discussed at that time.
Make a motion based on the report from MDOT permit and the report from the fire chief that the standard has been met.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So moved. 8.6 is sewage disposal. We have a proposal submitted for a shared site for 9 cottages. We have a letter dated February 9, 23 from Natalie Curry, licensed site evaluator, with finding a suitable site for a system with sufficient capacity for 22 bedrooms.
I'll make a motion based on the information provided and the report from the evaluator. The standard has been met.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that was a good one. All so moved. Everybody came in right at the same time. Now we're at 8.7 municipal solid waste disposal. We have a sign off on 3/14/23 from Dave St. Laurent, acting manager of Midco Solid Waste Corporation.
I will make a motion that based on the report from Mr. St. Laurent, the standard has been met.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Did you like my pronunciation? Yeah. I figured you'd be into that. 8.8 is aesthetic, cultural, and natural values, preservation of natural beauty and aesthetics. The applicants state they are attempting to minimize the impact that the development will have by minimizing tree removal and blending the buildings into the surroundings as much as possible. And we obviously discussed this before as well, so.
I will make a motion that based on the.
Oh, you want me to go through the rest of these,
Well,
I guess?
I'll
Yeah.
reference those.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that based on the information provided by the applicant and reports from state biologist, this standard has been met.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, aye. So moved. I didn't hear, did you say
I thought I
something?
did.
You might have nodded in assent.
I gave you a thumbs up.
8.9, financial and technical capacity. We already really resolved and discussed this, and I think we accepted that motion, so we can really just skip over this one here.
I think you need to make a
No,
finding
I mean,
on
let's
it.
say that I'll make a motion that based on information from the applicant and their financial agents in the form of letter from Machias Savings, the standard has been met.
Oh, good.
And also technical ability. Right?
I'll second that.
Did you add in that technical capacity?
And yeah, they're taking, I mean, yes.
Developers retain professional consultants to supervise, construct, and inspect.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. I think you're just nodding.
I'm reading the next one. I'm trying,
Trying to move it along. You're doing pretty good.
yeah, I'm not looking to vote against my own motions. Come on now.
8.10, surface waters, outstanding river segments. The development will not impact these protected resources as there are none nearby. So,
I'd like
Well, I
to
would-
make- oh,
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I'd like to make a motion that the standard is complete based upon development not impacting the protected resources, as there are none nearby.
Yeah, you could just say it does not
I'm
apply.
just-
Oh, it does
that-
not.
I'm just going to say there are none nearby is a little
Uh,
questionable to me because there is a river nearby.
Well,
This is.
it's different.
Specific.
8.14.
Yeah, because I'm not looking, I'm looking at the,
8.1.
looking at the process. So I'm sorry.
I was going to say 8.14 covers rivers, streams, and brooks.
This is river segments and
Yeah.
surface waters.
Standing river segments would be like Penobscot, the Kennebec.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I think this one was just the motion is this does not apply.
mhm. Okay, it does not apply.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Yeah,
Right.
river stream and brooks.
Yeah. 8.11 groundwater. The applicant states that the limited level of residential use will not negatively impact the groundwater resources either in quantity or quality, and the stormwater management plan will protect the resource.
Make a motion based on information provided by the applicant and the attached stormwater management plan. The standard has been met.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Heard that one. 8.12 floodplain. Looks like there's no, the floodplain is shown on the plan and there's no construction proposed for this area.
Make a motion based on information provided by the applicant. The standard has been met.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. 8.13, freshwater wetlands. The applicant states that there will be 2,063 square feet of freshwater wetlands along the front of the property that will be impacted. This is well below the threshold of 4,300 square feet for permit requirements to kick in.
I will make a motion based on information provided the applicant. The standard has been met.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Here we go, Chris. So rivers, streams, and brooks, 8.14. Springbrook has been identified with proposals developed with regard to maximizing protection from sedimentation and runoff. The open space location offers protection to the brook as well, offering a buffer. Timing of construction will be geared to leaving sufficient time for work to be stabilized before the site goes into winter.
I'll make a motion based on information provided by the applicant and the stormwater plan and agreements. The standard has been met.
I'll second that.
Yeah, can I just amend that to also add the erosion control plan?
That's what I meant by
Yeah,
agreements.
Yeah, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. 8.15 is stormwater. Gartley and Dorsey or another qualified inspector will oversee the construction and conduct regular inspections of erosion control installations prior to and after storm events. Stormwater plan will be referenced on the plan to be recorded and make enforcement of maintenance possible. A formal agreement with the town and homeowners association will require an annual report on the status of the stormwater infrastructure, and a 5-year certification of the plan by a qualified individual to address any maintenance issues that may exist will be part of that agreement. Those are all conditions that we had on there that were agreed to by the applicant.
We'll make a motion based on the agreements and conditions listed below that the standard has been met
I'll second that.
with the amendment of Gartley and Dorsey or other qualified expert.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'll make a motion that 816, 817, 818, and 819 do not apply.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Guess they're done. We were ready for that one. So the application must also meet the requirements of the open space subdivision. The applicant clarified for the board they are not proposing any new lots at this time.
How about 820, 820?
820, is that on my thing? It's not.
State standard, the proposed subdivision conforms with a duly adopted subdivision ordinance, zoning ordinance, floodplain ordinance, comprehensive plan, and other ordinances included in the municipal code as appropriate. Making this determination, the municipal reviewing authority may interpret these ordinances and plans. Performance standards, if there's a conflict between the requirements of this chapter and other ordinance or between the requirements or other, the more stringent requirement shall apply. Just say based on everything we've reviewed.
Based on, I'll make a motion that based on all of the information and the town's ordinances, the standard has been met.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. That brings us to the chair finding that the application meets both the letter and the spirit of the open space subdivision ordinance. Recommended. Oh, wait, this is just from the minutes. Application. Yeah. I do think that's important to note that we did find that the open space subdivision ordinance was met. The applicant setting aside 33% was open space is definitely something we're happy to see. And it meets both the letter and the spirit of the open space subdivision ordinance. Referencing findings in 1, 2, and 3, Chris, so we need a final motion for approval.
Our conditions have already been referenced, so they don't, in the pre-application, so they don't need to be spelled out here, correct?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think mentioning those conditions is
That's,
appropriate
no,
though.
we didn't need to be specific. I'll make a motion based on our findings earlier regarding the accuracy of information provided by the applicant and with the conditions laid out in previous discussions and our review of the approval standards, that the Nordhaven Camden subdivision at map 134 lot 1, as shown on sheet SUB dated 5/2/2023, is approved.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? John, you look like you want to say something.
Nope.
Are you just ready for dinner?
No, I ate before I came.
Oh, okay, good for you.
It's approved, and do we recommend it for approval to the select.
No, this
Oh.
is planning board
Okay, so
only,
it
yeah.
doesn't go
The only thing that
Not
is
go to the
weird about
select
that
board.
is the peers go to
Yeah, it's the
the,
peers.
Yeah.
the
This is it.
select board or anything that we're sending to voters, but yeah,
But not
just,
this.
this
Does
is,
that
this is,
motion work for you, Jeannie?
I missed why you included the conditions previous,
Just without not needing to spell them out in the,
but weren't they satisfied?
They were, I think he's just making final approval, that making
Conditional.
a conditions,
upon those conditions.
final approval upon the conditions laid out.
so it'd be good to have it in the final approval wording.
But there aren't any conditions on this approval, right? I mean,
The notice of decision.
That's what I'm-
Conditions.
I'm missing. I thought the conditions of approval that were in the notice of decision said they had been satisfied. So what conditions?
One condition would be that the conditional agreement is,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
The only one I had.
Yeah.
Because everything else is already agreed
Included.
upon.
Yeah.
So that's the conditional. Okay, thanks. I
Nope, that's good. Want to make sure we get all that.
That's why I was asking if that was a good motion.
Yeah, it was a great motion.
He's really, growing into his role. So, anybody have any, we didn't vote on this yet.
No.
Did we have any discussion on the final approval at all? Okay, no, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I don't have a gavel, but it's approved.
Thank you.
They tell me there's one here, but I haven't had to use it yet.
And Will has a number of sets of these, the subdivision
Lines.
plan.
You want to go ahead and sign them?
And you do
now?
need to sign them in order. So whoever,
It needs to be the same order on each one, right?
so
When's,
Do you want me to just?
maybe lay them out there on that table,
do
right
we have
there.
our next hour meeting scheduled? Are we meeting before our workshop with the select board, is Mike?
The next meeting says June, well, we got some people gone here. So
Did we decide on a date? I don't think, no.
we just have a select board workshop for sure on the 28th.
June 28th
Right.
at 3 o'clock.
Have another meeting
That's
before
that's
that.
my,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't
Well-
think we had, I couldn't remember if we agreed, set a date on that.
No, we didn't.
Ethan's gone on the 15th, which is the meeting.
Right.
I'm long gone.
So,
So here's the thing on the, just to update. I think it's pertinent. We were talking about trying to get a hearing scheduled for the affordable housing overlay zone. There is a bill in the legislature right now that sounds like it is moving forward that will give municipalities that have a town meeting form of government a 1-year extension on getting the housing bill that was passed to voters. So we've got a year extension. So we got to move it forward, but we're not just like, we're not pressed for that
Yeah, okay.
time. So that was my urgent one, was to do that. And Shenley and I are still going through notes on the short-term rental piece. So if you want to have a workshop when Ethan's gone, we can on the 15th and talk about short-term rentals or accessory dwelling units or something like that, if you want.
I just didn't know where we were going to be with language before meeting, if we met before this workshop with the select board. That seemed like a good plan to me.
Okay, so maybe what we can do is do a meet on the 15th. And we can talk about short-term rentals and where we were, just kind of solidify some sort of document for the select board meeting on the 28th.
Yeah, that would be good.
And Ethan, if you don't want to be here, the goals of what your
Yeah.
plan is, that's fine. I think we
You
can
guys
handle
do.
that.
I'm not going to be here. It's not that I don't want to.
Yeah.
I would rather be camping.
Yes, understood. So is that, we can do that on the 15th?
Yeah, it's fine with me. I can
Just do a
certainly,
workshop.
I can certainly catch up on watching that. and,
Yep.
Some good viewing.
And Shenley's already put together some kind of goals and notes on it, based on that meeting the other day, so.
Okay, so are we working towards language or are we still not?
I don't think we're there with language yet, but,
I was thinking we needed some definitions.
oh yeah, we need a lot,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. And we had a big conversation with the town attorney the other day on this very issue, so there's a lot of definitions, a lot of stuff that we need to hash out, so.
So to clarify in my mind, then the agenda, if you will, for the meeting on the 15th is both short-term rentals and its overlap with affordable housing. Is that
I don't think we need to do that. I think we should just stay on short-term rentals.
short-term rentals?
Yeah.
Okay.
workshop on short-term rentals
All right.
in preparation of the 28th of the select board.
Okay.
Okay, fair?
Ethan, you had mentioned me
Sorry,
adding
yes.
to that worksheet another town.
Did you guys want
Oh,
to?
I think they're waiting for us
I
to
think they may
sign it.
want to take one of those plans with them. Is that what you want?
We can do that quick.
You guys mind if you line up in the row and get each one done at the same spot?
Get your marching orders.
Yep.
I keep giving them their goals.
I'm going to stop my share. I'm going to stop my share.
We're very sorry.
Well, it's an interesting process.
Are you aware that this was the first time we've approved this subdivision? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new-ish ordinance.
It's great that the planning board can approve it, you know, other jurisdictions. You're not here to-
So is it just clearly plans? Oh,
Yeah.
these are just.
You'll all be welcome at our opening.
Yeah, when the hot button's on, that sounds good.
Exactly.
Not just now, but sometimes.
That's not on a hot day, it's on a day. But that's when jumping in the stream might be nice too.
Right.
The swimming hole. Righty.
Yeah, just 3. Okay.
You can return.
And is that setting date of next?
Ken, I know you guys do your own research, but I passed on that application form. And to me, it's kind of good in that there's a neighborhood notice requirement that the people, and it's like, if something goes wrong, who do they contact?
Some places put signs.
And, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Thank you. Yeah. You were talking about using it as an enforcement sort of like that.
Well, I just thought there's a lot of
Yeah, thank you.
sort of good components to that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We may try to bring a town attorney into maybe that discussion too, maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. There's a lot to unravel.
Well, and I know that even Portland, I think some of what Portland introduced what they voted in last year is being challenged.
Yeah.
So,
And like, was it Falmouth and Garmouth who got they prohibited them, right? Except unless they were on 7 acres or more, or what, I forget what it was. I mean, I think there's a question on the legality of
Yeah.
that. You know, a lot of these questions, a lot of legal questions on this. We haven't found anyone that has pushed that yet in any of these communities, and now I hear Portland might.
yeah, I
We're
think
talking about what now?
just the legality.
Which part of it?
I think that one of the things that I think that some people is the increase, the penalty fee structure. And there's something else, but
Yeah, I mean, a dwelling unit's a dwelling unit, real, that's what I think people. So, but it's something we just need to work at. It doesn't mean we can't move something forward,
right.
right? I mean, it's just.
Yeah, I'm not clear what you're saying. We should be, I think any town that's doing a short-term rental ordinance has to assume that there may be litigation around it.
Right.
We've seen, I think I shared an article, what was it? There was a challenge, yeah, which was upheld by the court. The challenge was not, the ordinance was upheld by the court. So, but that is going to be a growing area of law, but, I'm pretty comfortable
Yeah.
that we can do what we want.
Disagree with you.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any challenges to any of these things, real challenges.
Well, I'm sure there must have been somewhere. Not in Maine, but yeah.
Even the Bar Harbor one, I don't think was a real challenge on the actual constitution or the legality of the ordinance, as I recall.
Ethan.
Much like the whole
oh,
thing with this case that happened in Minnesota that went to the Supreme Court last week, and they just ruled on when the town takes a property for back taxes and then the town turns around and sells it.
Yeah.
Um,
And
now-
do they get some of their money back?
Yeah, if you read that, they didn't really rule on the legality of that, the constitutionality of it. It was a separate issue, but everyone's like, oh, well, it's unconstitutional for the towns to do that, or it's not really what they did. They didn't answer the real question. They just weighed in on the complainants, and I'm not an attorney, but they didn't really get into the crux of the issue.
Yeah.
Well, they'll often do that if they can avoid it.
So they did.
Right. No,
That's what they did.
It's
So now I
ridiculous.
think attorneys in Maine, because Maine is similar to Minnesota in that, and how we handle properties that we take for back taxes. I think that's what's happened now, is like states are looking at it and they're like, well, the decision from the Supreme Court really wasn't a decision on the legality.
Yeah.
So,
Right. It was not a precedent setting.
so, okay, good deal. Thank you.
Good deal. Set
Motion
for
to
the
adjourn?
15th. We've already done that.
15th workshop.
I won't be
and then the
here.
Select board on the 28th.
I leave you in the capable hands of Chris O'Rourke. Is that how you say your last name?
Just like a boat. Right.
No, that's what I said. I'm thinking my pronunciation is pretty good from high school French.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all, and thank you, Jeannie and Shenley, for all that you do.